Welcome to thestockmentor.com here in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I am your stock mentor, Brian Johnson, and another creeping day within the markets itself. As you can see, we've talked about this 100 times. We did see a gap down. What happens when we've seen gaps down? Buy the dip. Right, very good. So you're following along. Very proud of you. All right, so the buy the dip. However, even after they buy the dip, what typically happens then over the course of a day? Yeah, we see maybe a run up, but not that much, right? Well, here we are again. Lather, rinse, repeat. And you can see that same thing happened today. We get a little gap down to start the day. The bulls come in and buy it up. By the end of the day, we're up. 2 to 5 points in the S&P and maybe 50 points in the Dow. And so here we are again. You can go back and listen to some of my previous videos and hear me talk about this over and over and over again. It's just the way things are going right now. So we are getting obviously very close. Things are getting very tired up here. But point being, what am I going to say next? Yes, nothing broken from the bull side, guys. It's just the same thing. As long as it stays up here, things are still bullish. So feel free to play the indices. I've actually had, to be honest, a lot more luck playing individual stocks. Apple being one of them. I like Apple. I play Apple a lot. That one actually, by the way, Apple might be coming off in the next couple weeks or so. That one might be coming off my daily charts. I might be putting that onto my subscribers video for a few trades that are coming up that I'd like to share with them. But just so you know, so if you see Apple gone, it might not be forever, but it might be for a little while. Anyway, I love to trade Apple. One of my favorites to trade. If it's setting up well, I like to get in on it. And the indices themselves, not so much. I've been having a lot of really good luck with individual stocks. We had another, so far anyway. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But so far, I've had a really decent week again with the subscribers and their picks. I'll show those to you this weekend. So here we have on the Dow. You can see the 60-minute slowly creeping up, and just barely making these new highs as we climb to the upside. Now, tomorrow, I'm interested in where we go tomorrow. We'll see where tomorrow ultimately ends. But right now, no reason to think that maybe we'll end up sideways, creeping up ever so slightly. Watch and see if there's maybe another gap down in the morning, and if that starts to get bought up, then I would maybe just go ahead and follow it. See if maybe you can't pull a little bit out of the market itself. For the Dow, ultimately, I'm really kind of looking at this 12,400 area above us. See, so far, everything looks fine. Here was our pullback. It looks like we've started maybe a new little move to the upside. So I'm looking to see if there's any follow-through on that tomorrow. We got it today, albeit very small, but we did get a little bit of follow through today, so we're looking to see if we can't creep up ever so slightly into these overhead areas here. NASDAQ 60 did not a whole lot. You can see by the end of the day, I mean, it was, I think, up a little bit, 6 points it appears. So barely up for the day, but point being here, we had the gap down, bulls buy it up, it didn't make it back. We never, on the NDX anyway, we never made it back above this area. So while the NASDAQ composite was actually up for the day 6 points, the NDX was down. That is the 100 strongest stocks in the NASDAQ. So you can see the big boys are struggling here. One of them was Apple. It did not have a good day. Well, it didn't have a good day if you're bullish. It had a great day if you were bearish. But you can see this just kind of wandering sideways right here. Same thing, guys. As long as we hold these upper levels, it's still more neutral to bullish. Even if it's a slow grind up, doesn't make a difference. Still neutral to bullish. So what are we seeing, though? 1, 2, 3, consolidation 4, 5, and now we're into a correction down here. Are we about to start a new move to the upside? To be honest, it's anybody's call. Very, very neutral on the NASDAQ right here. Just waiting for looks above this area here, and then yeah, I'd say if you're a NASDAQ lover and like to look at it long, sure, look at it to the long side. Here it is again, coming right back up into the upper area. Not able to break it, but holding right at where 2,400, one of the areas I had given for overhead resistance, and we've held very nicely, not once but now twice on the daily candles. From a weekly perspective, too, everything looks really good here. Let's talk more about this after tomorrow, because we haven't moved that far for the week. This can completely be erased in one quick fell swoop tomorrow. Doesn't appear like it will head that way, but famous last word. So I'm always cautious about the weekly candles until they close on Friday. As you can see so far, though, things still looking very nice for the bulls. SPX 60-minute also pushing itself upwards here. 1340. And we talked about these areas above 1330, then looking at 1340, and looking about 5-10 points after that. Well, that's what we're seeing. I mean, we get a break above 1325 and we stop around 1330. Then we pull back and then we go up to about, we get past 1330 and go to about 1335. And we pull back and now we're up to 1340. Certainly coming into these heavier overhead resistance levels, and you can see it slowly creeping its way up. What's the point? It's up. The point is it's still creeping up. So no reason to get major short here on the markets. If you want to dabble in puts or want to dabble in shorts, okay, I'm certainly not going to slap your hand for that. But, at this point, there's no reason to be throwing everything you own into a short. Or if you're managing your 401k accounts, no reason to be taking everything out at this moment. Just waiting for those breaks. Want to be prepared for those, though, when they come. SPX daily, same thing, creeping its way upwards, doing a very good job. Once again, stopping at that 1340 area and up 4 points for the day. I mean, gap down a little bit to start the day, but overall, the move was what, maybe 8-9 points by the time it was all over with. Let's see, the low was 1331, so there you have it. Yeah, about maybe 10 points at the most. So you're not going to pull a lot of, doesn't seem like we're going to pull a lot of points out of the market up here in these higher areas. That's why, consider looking at some of the individual stocks if you know how to find them and know where to look for them. VIX was down again today, so here we go with that same VIX up, markets flat to up, and now VIX down and markets up, still back in conjunction. But you can see that every time the VIX comes up, the market stays flat or goes up with it. And all it's doing is creating more room to the upside to come crashing back down again. So look for maybe the potential for us to end up back here about break even on the VIX. I'm not going to be interested now. I've built my new channel. I'm going to be watching for breaks above this area here on the VIX to give me a better ballpark of where we're at. If you are an options buyer, this is a good time to be looking at those, though, because the volatility is so low. Here's the big gap down, and we saw it consolidate all day long on Apple. Consolidation can lead us either way, really, to the downside, though. Watch closely this 352.50-ish area to the downside. Now, that does leave room for trading, so if you want to look at something maybe below the 356-ish area back into 353 or 352, hey, $3-4 on Apple. Oh yeah, not a bad trade. That might be worth something to you coming into tomorrow's trading, but you can see now that we're below some of these support areas, the bulls are going to get about 1 day or so to get this thing back up. Otherwise, there could be a little bit of profit taking coming into Apple slowly but surely. It was also partly responsible for some of the moves in action we saw today on the NDX, the 100 strongest stocks. Google, Baidu, Apple. Yeah, got to be looking to those to see if we find some strength back in the market itself. So yes, we have pulled back, but I mean, we're not in any kind of major trouble, that's for sure. So we'll just, like I said, wait tomorrow for those breaks up or down on Apple. From a weekly to, here we go. I told you, got to wait till the end of the week to see what happens. We had one close above this blue line. Any further weakness in Apple's going to bring us right back to, at, or maybe even we finish below this blue line. Finishing below this blue line, though, is going to be right down about 350. That's going to put Apple in a little bit of trouble. That 350-250 area I talked about, guess what? Going to be right at or on this blue line. You see how curious? This could get very interesting tomorrow in Apple. Now, overall, is anything really broke? No, not really. I mean, it's still finding its way gradually upwards, and for the week, it's still up. So, bigger picture, I mean, 1 day, big deal. Apple's got to pull back eventually, right? Got to have a red candle every now and then on Apple. There's nothing really broke here. I'm not panicking or anything, but I would caution you now, as extended as we are. FAS 60-minute was down 3 cents. This was straight sideways move. Nothing to talk about here. Back above 34.50 maybe, or back below 33.50 are your moves. This kind of stands true on the daily. Same type of price levels for your entries, both long and short tomorrow. This is just another consolidation sideways, and until otherwise shown, it's still bullish for the financials. They just keep their move to the upside going. Here we are on the downside. Guess what? We finally left our little security blue blanket here, our little Linus blue blanket, if you will, and we wandered out into the middle of this channel, but the way things are going, I'm not so sure that the little boy down here isn't going to get scared and run back to his little blue blankie down here at the bottom of this thing, I guess, if you want to use that as an analogy. I don't know if that's a trading analogy, little blue blankie, but I'll make it one. On a daily too, look, we're still moving sideways here, still in what would be like a low base formation. Financials get strong. We're going to see this drop. My target is still the bigger blue blankie, if you will, to the downside here. We'll see if this finally starts to find some footing coming into the next week or two. Dow, and that'll do it for today. Okay, so here we are, back to the beginning. Really not a lot to talk about in the financials. They wandered sideways, and in the markets themselves, it's same old, guys. Any gap down, gets bought up towards the beginning of the day, it wanders upwards, you make a whopping 2, 3, 4 points on the SPX. If you don't know how to find good stocks to trade, or you're not comfortable with the stocks you're trading, or they're not moving, may I suggest you try the subscribers newsletter. We've had really good luck the last couple of weeks, so hopefully I can keep that streak going in a more consistent manner. I've been, it's been pretty consistent the last few weeks. So these are the type of stocks I find via the mentoring. If you've been through my mentoring course, you know exactly what I do and how I find them and what I look for. I don't talk much about this, but I actually use fundamentals to find a lot of my stocks, and I have a particular way that I do that, and I teach all of my students that within the course itself. So I'm not just a technical trader, although yes, I am 90% technicals. I do use fundamentals within my trading. It's an extremely useful piece of a tool to have in my toolbox. And that's where I find a lot of what I trade for my subscribers. So we'll talk more about that this weekend. I'll show you what we traded this last weekend. And we'll be back with you again tomorrow. Looking forward to a very, I don't know, I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow. That's all I'll say about it. We'll see if the markets can hold their run into the end of the week. All right. We'll see you guys again then tomorrow night. Bye.